is JonnyREcco. And I think I mentioned before, it's Sweden versus UK.
Yep.
So I'm I'm a bit vouching for Sweden, but I think I love JonnyREcco's playstyle. It's so awesome. It's not like the quick game ending. It's just slow and steady, and then he wins. I love that style.
And it's also not just take 3 bases and make swarm hosts and eventually win.
Eventually, in a near future, which could be
And
Monday.
near future, I don't know.
And then win. Oh, that is great.
Maybe it'll be it's considered near future if you look at like the clock of the universe.
Yes, yes indeed. And it is Namshar's pick of the map, which is Frost. I wonder if the last game we actually went for a 10 pool was a response that it thought that JonnyREcco was 10 pool. No, it isn't, because Namshar picked map first, I think.
He vetoed first, right? So I think it was JonnyREcco's map
Oh,
choice.
okay, it is. Alright, so I maybe thought that JonnyREcco was going to 10 pull him or something like that.
Possibly, yeah. The previous map, Derelict Watcher, is a great map for those early pools a lot of the times, because kind of similar to like if you were cross positions on this map, the bases are so far away, the overlords can't really spot the gases of your opponent, so a lot of times you can get away with a little bit of stuff. Frost is very similar, of course, just because it's such a large map. Even at these positions, unless you scout first with your overlord, you're not going to see anything. JonnyREcco, getting lucky, however, is actually able to see Namshar's gas, so he has a very good idea of what's happening.
Alright. Both players are... Let's see here. Alright. So, a bit of a... Wow. Isn't Namshar's hatchery really late? It feels like it's super late, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty late, because he went for like something like he went for pool and then gas, so it is very late compared to his opponent's much earlier hatchery. JonnyREcco's already going to have a spine crawler and drones mining this natural base before Namshar's really going to have too much of anything. Of course, Namshar is getting that bailing nest.
Oh, right. I see. Okay. The thing that actually delayed the hatchery so much is he actually put more drones into gas. So this is a gasless opening for JonnyREcco, which is a great economical build, but you don't get speed and you don't get bailing nest until later on. But it's fine. It's more of an aggressive economical build that Namshar is doing, whereas JonnyREcco is going for pure economical build. And look at that, there's going to be a lot of Zerglings is out right now for Namshar. They're actually running direct to JonnyREcco's base, and JonnyREcco has, well, a spine and a few queens, and it's going to be interesting to see if he actually can do any damage. But look at the block here.
Yeah. By having all those minerals, he's able to afford extra spine crawlers and queens for defense, so Namshar was completely blind to this opening, so he really doesn't have too much he had no idea until now really what's going on. I think he probably has a good idea now. Now these queens are going to be able to poke away. He saw those queens come out and he was like, oh, you must have given up the queens at the ramp. Oh, there's also queens at the ramp. So then he has to run away.
Yeah, really good defensive position here for JonnyREcco, and he goes directly for a Roach Warren as well.
Oh.
Wow.
I just realized the game was off. Sorry, guys. So anyway, the lair is coming for Namshar. So what happened is I had to leave the room to blow my nose and stuff because I'm sick, so I forgot to switch the stream overlay over, unfortunately.
It's okay. We can recap what happened. It's Namshar went for gas pool, then went for hatchery. JonnyREcco went for hatch first, then pool, no gas, defended up, and repelled about 8 Zerglings that went for the base. So that's actually what happened right now. There is a Roach Warren out for JonnyREcco and 2 Evolution Chambers, so they got the wall off of. Whereas Namshar doesn't have any defenses, so they're going all out on... well, he's going directly for a Spire. The thing is that Spire needs to finish really, really quickly, because those Roaches are right now marching up for Namshar's base. But there isn't enough, it's just 3 of them, so that won't make much of a difference.
Yeah, we do see JonnyREcco going for that Roach speed, getting that missile attack. He's going to get Carapace as well, I would imagine, as soon as he's able to afford it. This Overseer for Namshar is able to get... Actually, hasn't seen too much of anything, because there's nothing to see in the main base. But has he seen the front wall off? He's seen the Roach Warren, but he doesn't know... He doesn't have too good of an idea whether that's going to be all in or not, although he sees 4 total gases, so he probably has a pretty good idea.
Alright. More Zerglings coming in for Namshar. Namshar actually starting his first Mutalisk. No problem, because there are going to be quite few of them. Still, third bases go for both players. Good defensive position here by JonnyREcco. There's no presence at all for JonnyREcco's troop at the end of Namshar's map, so he's going to be able to expand very, very safely here.
Yeah, those Zerglings were almost able to get into the main base there. JonnyREcco putting his forces a little bit too far away, but Namshar not quite able to squeeze in with those Zerglings.
Alright, as some of you have noticed in chat, it is a delay, so every action we do takes about 2 minutes to be shown on stream, so that's why it looks like we're very slow to react, but we are not. It's just a delay.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Now the mutas are here for Namshar. They're going to see what damage they can get done, but JonnyREcco loves his queens, so that's going to help him a lot here. A bunch of lings are actually coming as well. Queens are not nearly as good against lings as they are against those mutalisks, so the lings are able to turn the tide of that battle, as the Spore Crawlers can get targeted down as well. These mutas are going to have a little bit of a heyday.
Yep, they are. They're going to hunt down some Overlords, get some economical damage, which is great. So that was actually great play there by Namshar, getting both Zerglings and Mutalisks.
Yeah, these mutas are able to get a lot of damage done to these Roaches, not really taking them out, because those Roaches do have such a nice amount of armor. Now these Queens even getting a little bit too far from the Spore Crawler. Great job by Namshar targeting down that high energy Queen, so that it can't transfuse his brother, or sister I should say.
Oh my god, the Overlord slaughter! Stop! So many Overlords going down. Luckily for JonnyREcco, he built some extra, so he's fine.
Oh, the Fungals do come down on these Mutalisks, so they are going to get chained 3 times, so not all of them are going to go down, but that's about half of them all of a sudden that have just disappeared.
Yep, they're actually being saved by their enormous regeneration, which is so good. So Fungals are good against them, but they're not like too good against them. Oh wow, they're catching a Fester out in the open there, and they're gonna take some more damage.
Oh, can this Fungal get it? Oh, nope. One more Fungal would have made like 6 of those die there.
Yeah, indeed, but it doesn't really matter. Oh, Namshar goes for Burrow. I like that. And he gets his own infestation pit and orchards his own roaches. He's like, alright, I see what you got there, JonnyREcco. Let me take some more of your stuff and mix in some of my Mutalisks and see what I can do about it.
Yeah, Namshar is actually going to use this map control granted by these Mutalisks on this huge map. He's just going to try to go straight for a 4th base. I like that decision a lot, because right now he really doesn't honestly have the economy to catch up in roaches, but if he's able to get that 4th base up, then he could definitely make it happen. See, these Mutalisks are just going to continue to be annoying, keeping JonnyREcco on his side of the map, making him blind to this 4th base.
Indeed. Alright, so both players here really in a good position. They're actually, you can both say that they're quite tight, but I like the placement here of the 4th base for Namshar. It's not an aggressive, it's a bit out of the way, but he actually knows that JonnyREcco has nothing that can actually reach that base that quickly. And JonnyREcco actually going for that huge roach count.
Yeah.
Those poor queens being caught off guard.
That was really weird. My whole screen just flashed black for a second. The stream saw that, I believe. Oh well. Never had that happen before. That's really weird. We see 2-2 is on the way. The attack upgrade finishing up for JonnyREcco, so his upgrades are going to be, I do believe, substantially ahead of his opponent's roach upgrades.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that JonnyREcco is getting really tired of this Mutas. He's going for Hydralisk right now, so he's like, oh, let's end this shit. I won't beat all the Mutas, but I can build Hydralisk because they're good against everything, so that's fine. Yeah. I wonder I think it's because he actually saw on the Namshar's roach count, so that's why he's going for Mutas. And that's a really good response for that, because Mutas do so much damage. And also going for the involved groove spines, that gives them +1 range, which makes them so they can actually shoot over the roach. So it's going to be a roach wall, and there's going to be Hydras behind that.
Yeah, we actually see Vipers on the way for Namshar, so Vipers in this composition are pretty interesting. I guess Blinding Cloud, if he can get Blinding Clouds on those Hydras and get them stuck behind those roaches not firing, then it could really turn the tide of a battle. Otherwise, I guess he could try to pull an Infestor, but there's a lot of reasons you don't see Vipers too often in ZVZ. It's because there's no real high value targets you would really want to pull.
Oh well, except this if it's Broadlord, that could be fine. Yeah. But alright, we could actually see an engagement right here. There are spines in the way that's gonna be targeted now. If you Infestor actually lost that, that's a bit sloppy control here by JonnyREcco. But oh, look at these forces just marching in, and I wonder if the army is actually tied in supplies, but. JonnyREcco has a bit more in army supply actually.
Yeah, he has such a strong army because of course those Hydralisks add so much for supply. They're so much better than roaches in an engagement. They actually don't always win per cost, but for supply they of course are much stronger. See, these Vipers are going to suck up some energy from this hatchery. Now all of a sudden, Namshar has a pretty strong army himself. It's going to come down a lot to these fungal growths. If either player gets really good fungals and is able to take a chunk out of their opponent's army, then the engagement could go very heavily in their favor.
Yes, I think that's going to be one of the last pushes here. Namshar is pushed against the wall. He has a great army. Good fungal. He gets off there directly, just sacrificing one of the infested terrors actually going down directly into the lines, and Roche actually focused firing them. Oh man, this is a huge damage. The supply actually dropping for JonnyREcco quicker than it does for Namshar. So these 3 units that JonnyREcco actually throw up there, it's actually saving him. He's doing so much damage and might actually be able to take down this hatchery.
Yeah, a tiny little flank over on the left side from JonnyREcco is actually able to keep a decent amount of Namshar's army out of the fight for a good half of that fight. So actually, I think JonnyREcco might have just fallen in supply because he hadn't quite reproduced his units as quickly as Namshar was. So now all of a sudden, the base does go down, but JonnyREcco is going to lose the remainder of this army. You can see he's pulled ahead in supply again, so he's remaxed with a lot of roaches and some Hydras and Infestors, and even his own Vipers on the way as well.
Yeah, and suddenly JonnyREcco is in the lead. Wow, that was a good remax. He just took out of his wallet and like, yeah, I have some spare cash over, spending it on roaches and Hydras and whatnot, and he might be able. I think if he holds this, he will actually win the game. This is the final encounter here, because the wallet size of Namshar isn't the same as JonnyREcco. Look at him get lots of infested terrain going down here, doing so much damage against his Hydralisk, and there's the GG. Well played by JonnyREcco.
Yep, Namshar not remaking that third base, just